Of course, we have avariceness, vengeance, pride, lust, covet, covet. How do you say that? Present progressive. Covet. When you covet your neighbor, covet your neighbor's car, or covet your neighbor's wife. Jesus spoke about that. Kind of, kind of. Probably, if you were there, it would be a little flippant or like, duh, you know. I sin every day. I like some of my sin. The sin of pride has been a mystery to me for such a long, long self-effacing life. It's what you get when you get a self-effacing father. You have to wake up from that to not self-efface. So the assertiveness scale is way down here. My When I say I like my pride, it's a normal assertiveness. It's like pride in doing well. This is not the pride that is a destructive pride, but it's a colorful pride, a happy pride. It's a giving pride. You can exciting to me to experience pride because I'm being happy with myself doing something, giving a $5 bill to a guy so he can on the freeway exit. So surely so they can buy a quart of Schlitz. I would if I was out there homeless, clothes on my back, all I have is a stuffed box which I'm sitting on or something. I don't know. What do they sit on? Some of them sit on the road. I say they like it's a category. Each person that's homeless has their own story, their own formula to their sanity, their own very own formula to their insanity. We are like snowflakes. However, we're all snow. We have more things that probably thematically and by virtue of volume, more things that we all want that are that are primary to our very existence. They're primary into our genetic code. As a bad sentence. Etiologically, the drive for connection to other humans, connection to the beasts of the field and the trees that go around you and the flies in your house. If you want to get rid of your flies, open up your windows. They want to get rid of you. That's why they bounce off the glass because the poor things never imagine the reality that he believes he's in. Poor thing thinks it's the sky and he runs into the sky, and all of a sudden, the sky is a wall. They're complex beings, flies, and we want to spray nerve gas on them. So basically, their whole nervous system freezes up, painfully so. Their brain goes in panic mode. Their body's doomed in seconds. Neurotoxin. Don't believe me? Inhale the stuff yourself. It's not going to, actually, don't. Anyway, my point being, we're all driven to have these connections, as I mentioned. I'm sure I missed something. Well, connection to God. The seemingly, if you, it's not hard history to read. The dawn of man. I don't care if you're Darwinian or a creationist. It's irrelevant to me. I didn't create myself. I know that. So I may as well worship anything that's above me that I can't create, and that's just about everything. I was thinking maybe it'd be a few things, but this this you want to worship something? Worship the food chain. Worship the sunshine. Worship the purpose, the perfect layers of atmosphere. Our sun and the atmosphere that would the sun would kill us if it didn't keep out EV rays. Is it EV? Ultra UV ultraviolet rays would kill us. We'd all get cancer or something. It would kill the photosynthesis. And if you don't have photosynthesis, you don't have life. Because you don't have photosynthesis, you don't have a food chain. If photosynthesis is the smallest, which it isn't, bacteria is the smallest thing, or living thing. It eats, it combusts, it excretes, and it builds new things, just like we do. We all have need for all these said connections, and you have your own that are important to you, and make sure they involve nature. Make sure they involve the this is just my this is why I'm talking. It's my opinions. Make sure they involve that I've observed. And historically, their peoples have always worshipped a god or gods. So why do you think the Mayans, it's 6,000, 4,000 the time of Christ, certainly before then. Who knows? Really, I've heard estimates of 20,000, 100,000 years ago. The Mayans. What I'm talking about is throughout history, whatever piece of history you want to look at now, 100 years ago, 50 years ago, 200, 300, all the way back, there seems to be this need to worship a god, this need to be community of people, connection of something, a person with you. That's a group. That's a friend. And that's another subject. You know, a lot of how you know yourself is discovered in your interaction with people, which sounds maybe dependent or not psychologically healthy. All I'm saying is that you are basically raising up a mirror when you're speaking to someone. It is you that's being seen or reflected, and you can see it yourself. And it can be enjoyable, actually, if you're with well, in my opinion, if you're with a fairly decent human being. If you're not with a fairly decent human being, which is another subject, as one might want to define that, then it's not as fun, and you just get away from it. But maybe you have to be an empath like me to be able to pick up on the. I don't think so. I think all people have that sensor that, like, animals have it. Riley, my dog, has it. My dog knows people are there are significant energetic electrical. I know that's another subject, but we'll just say the energy from people, juju. Okay, I don't want to get into the clinical side of neuroses and all that. It's a it's a big book, to crack open. At this point, I don't feel like doing it. So anyway, so you get away from these people that you're if you're not liking your experience around them. But oh, how I become tangential. Oh, so tangential. I need to wear some lipstick. Oh, oh, oh. Except I don't have any lips. My lips are so thin. The shitty cameras. They're very digital or yeah. Well, not if you get a professional camera, but cameras on computers, for instance, are very slow lensed. Uh, they're I don't want to describe how a camera works either. So anyway, all these connectednesses, this is plural of connected. Connected is connections. Connections. There we go. I knew I was missing the boat somewhere. These are, and also, purpose. God, friend, people, purpose, a calling, which in that purpose, the venture, the work. This is why it's important to find work that you like, not a slave in a machine, a peg in a wheel, but something that utilizes your unique abilities. This is another tangent. Purpose, connectedness, a calling, or will bring these things will bring out meaning. What am I doing here? It can bring out the contribution, the sense of contribution. If you're providing something that especially if it's uniquely you, you know, this points to meaning. And if you read, these questions have been asked thousands of years, thousands and thousands of years. You know, or is it Space Odyssey where the chimp holds up a skull? Where is that a Rodan? No, Rodan is the guy sitting on books, holding up a skull like this. Hmm. Anyway, so that being covered, if you're following along, I was talking about all the things that us humans struggle with. The wrong kind of pride, which I think you can figure that out. Uh, I'm right, you're wrong. It's pretty simple. I'm not talking about the pride of a good job or the pride of a good life or the pride of a kid or a child, the pride of this is all proud stuff. And then it becomes a sin, like or a sin being a lack of sin being actually what it means is missing the mark, missing the mark, missing the mark. That's all. So what? You're missing the mark. Then you have envy, lust, and others. The five. I don't know. It's called something. The Bible's a cool book. Of course, I was born in the West, and I've read most of the Bhagavad Gita, and it's not nearly as rich. Maybe it is in Hindi. Hindu to English is like Aramaic to English, as Jesus spoke in. Greek to English. An awful lot is misinterpreted. Symbols that are given to us via the dialectic hermeneutics of the problems that you run into in hermeneutics, which is the study of words. The problems that you run into from transferring Greek to English are how can I say as big as a Cadillac compared to VW Bug. They're big. The errors that we make, the things that we are given for what the word for a word in English from Greek, you could be losing. Uh, uh, some of it is blatant as red is black and black is red, and some of it's more subtle, and most of it's just wholly incomplete in its definition. So you can gather the meaning and the feeling of a word. Greek is layered; it's multiplicit in types and forces and wills of meaning. One word holding these things. Different types of love, agape and forgotten the Greek names for, but I've looked at it before. I did a hermeneutic on love. So you see love in the Bible, but in Greek there's five different uh, types of love that's described within the word. But every time we see it in the Bible, it just says love. So it's it's lost. That it's not lost. It's in the Greek. But who reads Greek? I do. Takes a long time, but anybody can. We all have these things that I'm describing: envy, lust, anger, resentment, blame. Those are five good ones. That's why we're here, because depends if you believe in the perpetuation of the soul. I do. The soul assigning itself its duties, its jobs to be worked on here on this planet. To be a human living on this planet every day is a preparation for death. And you get a preview every night you go to sleep. It's not a medical term of death, but you're certainly somewhere else in a dream. And we have just scratched the surface of the purpose, the meanings, the purpose really of the dream. Of course, it's there to REM sleep, rest the brain. They can you can see different areas or areas of slowing down as we enter REM sleep. But other areas are very active all the time, awake and asleep. Anyway, oh, how tangential. My red lipstick on. I'm gonna get some red lipstick too. All right, I think I'm gonna get some really good stuff though. I don't know why. Maybe not. Maybe I'll get 10 colors at Dollar Tree, $1 each, where you'd pay $34 for a good lipstick, right? This camera won't pick up anything. I was just interested in my own ethos, my own. I'll look it up. Uh, so we have these things, and this is okay that we have these things. This is my message for tonight. What I really wanted to say is it's okay that we have these things. You see, these are things, to put it bluntly and to save a lot of conversation and to not bore you if you're still with me, is that it's okay to have these things. It's not okay in the sense of gee, good boy. It's okay in the sense that we all have these things. That's what we're doing here. If you want to die peacefully and stay at peace and to go into a place where you have no body pain, I know that. You have no mental or emotional pain. If you do your work on earth, you don't, a person that lies and steals to survive, for instance, is is in scarcity. When they die, they can't transition into something that Christians would call heaven, where everything is beautiful and wonderful, and and innate in that is that so is your being is at peace, is what they're saying in heaven. But you won't know how to be at peace. There's things that you do, actions and beliefs and uh, reactions and motivations and behaviors and things that bring peace. You won't you don't get a free pass. You don't get a free pass from being a shit on earth, and then all of a sudden you get into the heaven, and you won't know heaven, but even though it's all around you like it is now, this is it. It's a potential to be heaven, and here is a potential to uh, to be in hell, which is self-affliction, self-infliction, thoughts, behaviors, actions. What's our actions? I guess that's a synonym. So you won't know heaven. You, you can't know heaven if heaven's a peaceful, wonderful place. You only get to take with you what what you got mentally, spiritually here on earth, and that's where you'll be when you get to death. So you get back to work and maybe rest for a while and look at things for a while, and then if you can, if you're even that conscious on earth, when you die and your soul has a lot of work to do still, you simply get put you get you get to enjoy earth again, or you get to inflict yourself into hell on earth until you realize that you don't want to do that anymore, until it becomes common sense left and right. The wars and conflicts that we have inside is what we find outside. It's like that. You can't find anything else. It's not a bridge. You don't just transform. You have to know things via experience, know things via mistake, which creates wisdom if you learn from your mistake, your experience. So we all have these things. That's what we're doing here. And my point is, I don't think there's any purpose for shame about these things. Shame destroys, shame creates hopelessness, shame creates anxiety. The thing to do is to know what your areas of concern are. Elimination, I don't know. That's for you to find out. It's for me to find out. Elimination, anger, resentment, blame, envy, lust, avarice, gluttony, laziness, or yeah, whatever. Read the Bible. It tells you in a lot of different ways if you can't catch on. Like Jesus said, right? I don't come to do away with all your laws. I come to fulfill them. He's just making it easier for people to understand a lot of confusion, a lot of weird shit in the Old Testament. Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Deuteronomy. The Torah is full of a hell of a lot of ridiculous rules. The Jewish Bible is hell. I love the Jewish religion because it's got so much ritual and celebration in it. And I like ritual and celebration. I like the Catholics' ritual and celebration. I don't believe in 90% of what the Catholics believe in. Mother Mary is dead. There is no there's just no floating around of Mother Mary, and there's no floating around of Jesus either. And Jesus speaks over and over again, and call upon me, I will be there. Of course, because you're it. Enter heaven. Who does the entering? Jesus doesn't do it. That's Jesus entering heaven on earth. He's just showing you. He's just teaching. But that's not my point. My point is all these I was talking about the plague of shame. Shame isn't a solution. It's an option. Depression isn't a solution. It's an option sometimes. And there are certainly depressions that are not chosen. However, what I'm saying, in most of the time, there's reasons for the depression. And depression will stay there until you come upon the reasons. Is is salvation. That's salvation. This is what Jesus is talking about. You know, they didn't need to kill him, but he knew they would. Because of the love of thy neighbor that he was speaking of, because of the transcendence, the doing away with so many rules, and just coming to your fellow man and coming to God and coming to your life simply weightless. It can be. You see. This is the message of the Christ. If you want your laws and you feel good about your things that you do, the Wailing Wall or pinning scriptures on your hat, and if this is your formula and you're dealing with your stuff and you're happy about your plot, you know, which I've described earlier, you know, incorporating it in the need to worship or to know or to believe in Mother Mary or Jesus flying around in the sky, uh, then this is what people do. And that's okay. That's what Jesus was saying. You know? Come on, be sensible. Even though it's a Sabbath day and your goat is in the mud and he's going to die, you need that goat to put milk and cheese and meat on your table. So you save the goat. You don't stone the guy for working by saving the goat. He's trying to simplify things. So we all have these things. So what I'm saying, shame is not the answer. The shame to be feel shame about your lust. The shame is not the answer. Shame is to examine what your sexuality is. It's not, or the thing to do is examine what your sexuality is. There is a sexuality within you that needs to be accepted in terms of what your preferences are. And once you find a sexuality and you admit to yourself or even to others, at least to your lovers, eventually, it's not a secret. These are your preferences. This is what you like. And if it's not okay, you'll find out about it in your death. If you hold In other words, child pornography is not okay. There's a wiring problem with people that are lusting after 2-year-olds. This is a beauty thing of beauty. It's not to be destroyed by your own sexual drives. This is missing the mark. This is not a natural thing. You you ought not be esteeming a young human, at least until their puberty. This is why pubescent girls, girls just having their period, were married off because they could have babies. See? But in this culture, we can't do 12-year-olds. You see, there's a law. You have to, you know, go look carefully. She may be fully developed, but she's 14. So it's a cultural slam on you, you know. Again, it's not a thing of shame. That's a perfect example. Look into it, examine it. Oops, she's 14. Oh, sorry, I can't be attracted to her right now. The age is nefarious, or it's not quite the word. It's dictated upon the culture. Yeah. 18 is our cultural rule. Okay, so what I'm saying is not shame is not the deal. So if you see a girl that's 17 and 364 days and you feel attraction towards her, to her symmetric form or whatever, an Eve beauty archetype, as Jung would call, would say, the, and you go, oh, she's not 18, somehow you know this, or you've found this out, or she's too close to call 18. So here comes if you have a rush of shame about it, don't. This is what I'm saying. Examine what's going on. Okay, that's natural to be attracted to the form. But she's 18. Don't be hard on yourself. Shame isn't. It's an option, like I say, but it's not a solution. Shame keeps you stuck. Shame paralyzes you. It creates analyze, paralyze, paralyze, analyze. How does that say? Forgotten how it goes. Analysis paralysis. Shame is the mother of analysis paralysis. You just go, oops, okay, well, I can't do that. And then be nice to yourself about it. Nope, she's not 18. Okay. And of course, we're designed to be attracted to the opposite sex. In fact, we're specifically dependent upon it. I'm not going to define what's right and what's wrong behind behind the door in a bedroom with two or more consenting people. I'm not going to define what's right or wrong, what happens in it, because I have my own formulas, which is not important because you have your formula and others have theirs. the the sadist and the masochist, they have an agreement. They each want what's happening. So that's probably good for today. And just next time, maybe I can pick up the theme because it's just the start. I'm talking about shame. And we're talking about all the common problems that we have as human beings. That's what we're doing here. Don't be ashamed to be here or have these things that are that torment, for lack of a better word, that give you cognitive dissonance. Trying to hold a value that's a cultural value, yet you really feel this way. You see, it goes like this. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Like you're drunk driving a car down the road. Just as disastrous in some ways. Death is death is death, right? Okay, July 15, 2016. Nice to be with you.